Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of 16NTC. Of course, that's the Nonprofit Technology Conference in San Jose, California. We're in the Convention Center, and this is also part of part of NTC Conversations. My guests are Miko Whitlock and Rebecca Reyes, and their session topic is digital metrics, what to measure, how, and why. We're going to get to that very shortly. First, I have to highlight the NTC swag item for this interview, which is a T-shirt from Civis Analytics. Little design there. You can see that there's some artistry to this. Civis Analytics. Swag item. Final swag item for the conference. This joins our swag pile, unceremoniously thrown into the pile. And we are wrapping up our coverage of 16NTC. This is our last of 32 interviews, which will be playing over the next many months on Nonprofit Radio. With me, Miko Whitlock. He's Digital Communications Consultant and Associate Director for Communications at NASTAD, N-A-S-T-A-D. We'll get to that in a sec. And Rebecca Reyes. She's Digital Marketing Consultant at Spring Media Strategies. Miko, Rebecca, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on Nonprofit Radio. Miko, what is NASTAD?
NASTAD is the National Alliance of State and Territorial AIDS Directors, and that's just a fancy way.
State and territorial what?
AIDS directors.
AIDS directors.
And that's just a fancy way of saying that we are a national association that represents public health officials focused on ending HIV and hepatitis.
Okay.
So we work in all 50 states and the U.S. territories.
All right. Rebecca, how about Spring Media Strategies? What are they about?
We do digital marketing strategy and campaigns for nonprofits.
Okay.
Focused on environmental organizations.
All right. All right. Digital metrics. How do we know, Rebecca, let's start with you. How do we know what we should be measuring for our organization? It obviously varies across.
It definitely varies. There are a couple of metrics that just every organization should measure in your website, email, social media, but it really comes down to what kinds of things are you looking for, what matters for your particular organization,
okay.
What are your goals, who are your audience.
All right, and we'll get to the ones that apply to almost, you say in the description, almost every organization. All right, but how do we know, how do we decide what's best for us?
It comes down to your goals.
Oh, okay,
so,
you look at your goals.
Yep.
Yeah, what are you trying to achieve with your website or all those channels you mentioned?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
And I would extend that. So it's essentially a formula, right? So you understand who your audiences are. And a hint here is that the general public is not your audience. So you want to be as specific as possible.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it is what Rebecca said, which is you want to understand what are your goals with the audience? What do you actually want them to do once you've identified them? And then the last part is what does success actually look like? So when you bring the audience and the goals together, what does success look like? And when you're able to figure those things out, then you know roughly what are you looking for based on the platform that you're using in terms of metrics.
Okay, so some of our outcomes might be more volunteers, 5,000 signatures on the petition.
Exactly.
10,000 calls to senators throughout the country.
Exactly.
More dollars raised, whatever our outcome is for our organization, maybe for a particular campaign. I think all those things I mentioned could be our individual campaigns.
Yes.
All right, what are we trying to achieve, and I guess in how long?
Yes.
Maybe a time frame associated with it? Okay.
Yeah. Exactly. So you smart objectives, right? So you want to make sure that you have focused goals, but that they are also time-bound, time-measurable, right?
What does that SMART stand for? Measurable, right, S, measurable, achievable, R, I forget, T is a time. What's the S? Does anybody remember? We always talk about SMART goals. What the heck does SMART stand for?
I'm using SMART lowercase.
I put you on. I'm putting you on the spot. All right. I don't know, but we're supposed to have SMART goals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy. I'm sure we can. We can Google that. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Okay. What are the ones that every organization ought to be measuring? Miko, let's go to you for this. Or nearly every organization should know something. Some things.
Yeah. So let's start with the basics. So if you're an organization, you should have a website. At the very basic, right? And if you have a website, there are a couple of things you want to be looking for. You want to know how many people are coming to your website, so that looks at sort of unique page views. You want to know how long roughly people are staying on your pages. Are they digesting your content? And you want to know where traffic is coming from. Is it coming from Google? Is it coming from Facebook? Do you have a partner organization that's using a newsletter that's promoting your materials and your partner's doing a really good job driving people to your website? You want to understand those basic measures so that over time you can begin to understand how you make adjustments. So if you want to extend your reach and you have this partner organization that's done a really good job of pushing your things out, well, can you partner with similar organizations that are doing as good a job of helping you drive people to your website? And again, you want to be very clear about making sure that the numbers don't exist in a vacuum as well. So you want to be able to compare them to a previous time period. So it's not enough to say that we had 5,000 website visitors this month.
Yeah, because we had 10,000
Right.
the previous month. We're not doing so well.
Exactly. So you want to be able to compare to a previous point in time.
Okay.
And if you're just starting out, it's okay if you don't have those benchmarks. You're going to build that over time.
Yeah. All right. Let me point out that there's noise behind us because NTC 16 is coming to a close. There's forklifts pulling apart, booths, and there's traffic back and forth as banners get stored. But Nonprofit Radio perseveres. We're here for the duration. We do not pack up early like our booth, our co-located booth across the way. I won't say which big video organization and site that is, but they're huge, and they're wrapping it up, but not us, not Nonprofit Radio. And Miko and Rebecca are staying with me. Thank you. Rebecca, are these things that, there goes my voice again, cracked like I'm 12. Are these things that Miko just described, like referring traffic and how long people are staying on the site, et cetera? Is this stuff we can get all from Google Analytics or elsewhere? What?
Absolutely. Google Analytics is kind of the industry standard. There are a lot of tools out there. There's, you can get into really deep. You can get into reporting. You can combine it with Google Sheets and put an add-on for Google Analytics. So, create those nice reports for yourself. But there are also some third-party tools that can really, send them all of the great information to your email. So you don't even have to go into Google Analytics to see that kind of information. But one thing is there's a difference between the kind of data that you just monitor on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and then there are some more advanced kinds of things that you want to take a look at it just kind of every once in a while, maybe quarterly or yearly, whenever you get a chance. So you can really dig a little bit deeper and take action on those things.
Okay. Help us understand what we should be looking at weekly or monthly versus quarterly, semi-annual. Which one?
So you want to kind of, take a look at your bounce rate or your time on site. How many visitors are you getting? Those are kind of some of the very basic things you just want to keep an eye on. And if you see a spike or you see a dip in the numbers, that's going to be a red flag. But you can go a little bit deeper and look at some of those basic analytics alongside some of the other kinds of metrics like landing pages or exit pages. So, what are your top landing pages? Do people spend a lot of time on those pages? What are say you have some really important sections in your website. I've found websites, have an average of, some of the websites that I look at have an average of, say, a minute and a half for overall time. But some very specific sections have maybe an average of 5 minutes, which is really great. And that tells you, okay, they're really digging into the information and really taking the time to learn about your organization.
Okay. Now you mentioned the bounce rate. That is how many? Isn't that how many people leave after viewing only one page? Is that the bounce rate?
Right.
Yeah. I have that right.
Yep.
Okay. I know a little something, but not trying to take over by any means. Okay. Now, okay. So Rebecca, you mentioned how long people stay on a site. That a minute and a half to 2 minutes might not be bad if the site is first of all it's not marketing anything. Maybe there isn't a donation function. Maybe it's an education type site. And the posts are short or the videos are short. Maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes, maybe that's not so bad at that kind of site, right?
It definitely, this is the time on site, the average has slowly gone down, because people spend more time just jumping around from site to site. And especially if your traffic, a lot of it is coming from, paid ads or organic search. They're going to be really cold leads. And so you're going to have a lot of people that it might not be quite the right fit and they're going to leave. But so that's why it's important to dig a little bit deeper and to see, okay, maybe a minute and a half, that's not, super awesome. But if you have a really high time on site for some of the internal pages that really matter, if you are able to convert a lot of those people, it doesn't matter if they only spend 30 seconds.
Okay.
And-
Nico, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so to add to that, I think it's two things important to keep in mind. So first is, what are your goals? So people come to the website, what do you actually want them to do? Are they filling out a form to sign up for your email list? Are they watching a video? And that has to be aligned with your analysis of the time on page. The other part of it is relative, right? So you need to be able to compare it to something else. Having the time on page in isolation doesn't really mean anything.
Well, your point earlier,
Yeah.
that compare it to what's the trend over a year, 6 months.
Exactly.
What's it doing?
Yeah.
And you may have different goals for your site in at different periods over different
Exactly.
campaigns.
Yes.
So 2 minutes might not be bad if donations are on the right. If the donation page is seeing more traffic.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of nodding. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'm not so stupid about this as I thought. All right. Okay. Anything more we want to say about the metrics that nearly every organization should be following? Have we exhausted it? No.
Well,
Go ahead.
so we just talked about the website, but there's also social media. There's fundraising. There's video. And so in the session that we covered, we sort of walk through each of these types of platforms and sort of walk people through. Here are the basic metrics that you need, and here are the advanced metrics. So people check out the session notes. They'll find the slides where we sort of break down all of this information.
Okay. Where are the session notes?
So if you go to the N10 website and you search for our session on digital metrics, there's a link to it there. So n10.org is where you want to go and search for our session.
Okay. And the title again is Digital Metrics: What to Measure, How, and Why. And the session hashtag is 16NTC Dig Metrics, DIG Metrics, or DIG Metrics.
Yes, and lots of great information on Twitter if you're following that conversation using that hashtag.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Did you get a lot of session, a lot of live tweeting during the session?
A lot of live tweeting, a lot of feedback, and actually we'll be sending out the slides and alerting people to that through using that hashtag.
Okay. Excellent. Let's see, what else we got? What else did you promise people? Tools and processes for collecting, reporting. Let's talk about some tools. Rebecca, you started to touch the surface a little bit, scratch the surface a little. What other tools do you both recommend?
Well, very basic tools like either Google Sheets or Excel spreadsheets. That's a really great place to just start. Identify the top 5 or 10 things that you want to monitor over time that really matter to your organization and your organization's goals, and just keep track in there. And then, whatever email tool you use, Facebook has some really great analytics, Twitter, YouTube, they all have really great analytics built into the system. So whatever social media tool you use, check that out. Also, scheduling tools like Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social, they all have some really great analytics built into them. So that's a good place to start, just to, see all of your social media information in one place.
Okay. Are there any analytics tools that you like beyond what's embedded in each of the sites that go even deeper?
Yep, there's some reporting tools that I really like. If you check out springmediastrategies.com, I have under the blog in the tools section some free tools for Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, so you can see there's a lot of tools out there, so I try to gather some of the really best ones. A lot of them are either free or very affordable because nonprofits obviously are on a tight budget.
Yeah.
Another tool that I recommend checking out is KPI dashboards. So that's key performance indicators. So this will really help you track, from beginning to end, track conversion. So if you really care about donations, you'll be able to see, across your platforms what's working. And that's going to be a really great tool to bring everything all in one place.
Okay. How about you, Miko? You got tools you can recommend?
Sure. So I would just echo what Rebecca mentioned. So we do use Google Analytics for our website. We love it. We also use Sprout Social in terms of team management. And I'm a really big fan of keeping it simple. And so we use Google Drive and the Google Sheets as a way to track metrics. And so those are some of the favorite tools that we use. And in terms of the just basic principles, I would encourage folks to keep it simple. I think sometimes we spend a lot of time trying to find the perfect tool to get the job done, and the truth is that there isn't a perfect tool because the audience and the goals are different for each organization, and sometimes even within the organization, that's going to vary from campaign to campaign. And so there is no one tool that does all of that. And so my recommendation is for folks to find a few good tools that work, and use those.
Okay. The NTC is coming down around us. The exhibit hall. I mean, there's trucks, there's forklifts, there's a man lifter up at the ceiling, taking down something that was hanging from another booth. But we're persevering. We have another 5 or 6 minutes together. Okay, but very good advice to recognize that each organization is going to be different.
Yes.
And really, what about? I mean, don't be afraid to try something.
Yep.
I mean, this is analytics.
Yes.
So try a tool. If it's not yielding what you need, then scrap it and try something else, right? I mean,
Yeah, and
it's pretty hard to fail at this.
Exactly. So, and don't reinvent the wheel, right? So that you are in a community of organizations that are doing work similar to you. Ask someone. That's what NTC is all about.
Yeah.
Ask someone, and if you have something that you can share with someone, share it. We grow stronger together.
And N10 is very good about that.
Yes.
All the communities of practice. There's got to be communities of
Exactly.
practice around analytics. And
There is one for digital communications.
okay.
So, yep.
Okay. Are you in there?
I am a part of
Okay.
it.
Rebecca, are you in there too?
Yep.
All right. Excellent. N10, very sharing organization. Even if you're not a member, you can.
Yeah,
There's so much you can get from N10.
Exactly.
And then the membership is so darn inexpensive anyway.
Yeah.
Amy Sample Ward hates when I say it's cheap. It's affordable, accessible. That's what she likes, accessible. It's like $70 for a whole organization, for everybody in the organization. You got to be a member. All right, that's sufficient N10 shout out. Okay, we do still have a few more minutes together. What else have we not talked about from your session that we should?
So we spent a lot of time talking about strategy and process. So we talked at the very beginning of our time together today about understanding people, goals, and your measures of success. That's going to be very important because today or tomorrow, there might be another equivalent to Facebook that everyone is sort of jumping on the bandwagon for.
Yeah.
If you understand your people, your goals, and what you want to achieve, you can understand whether or not that platform actually makes sense for you. The other part of the session that we talked about was process in terms of how do you actually make this work day to day.
Oh, wait, before we go to the
Yes,
process, Rebecca, anything else you want to add about, you sure? We got time. Nothing?
I just wanted to give a few examples
Strategy.
of how people can go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, please. Come on.
So, we talked a lot about, okay, these are the basics for monitoring, right? But you really want to make sure you find data that you can take action on. So that's where, combining the time on site with the top landing pages, for example. Also, a really good, easy practice to do is to take a look at your top pages, most visited pages, or pages with the highest time on site, or whatever kind of metric you want to compare it to that particular day, and look at your top 10 and your bottom 10 and put them side by side, because you'll likely see some differences. You might spot some patterns between the most popular and the least popular in that particular category.
Oh,
So then
interesting.
you
Yeah.
can really, once you spot those differences, definitely take a look at all of the rest of your articles and see if that trend holds true throughout your site. And then you can stop doing things that don't work and start doing things that really do work.
Okay, interesting. I love the idea of comparing top 10 to bottom 10. And you've seen this,
Yep.
and you've found correlations?
Yeah, so things like headlines, for example, obviously headlines like numbers or how to do really well versus things like questions or things that are really long and not very descriptive don't do very well. And the difference can be huge, from just 5 or 10 clicks to an article versus hundreds.
Yes. Okay. So, like, top 5 ways to increase your Facebook ad revenue versus social media strategies.
Exactly. And of course, you want to
Okay.
have a variety of headlines. You don't want to have numbers in every single one.
Yeah.
But at
that's
least,
click candy. But, yeah. No. But I'm just off the top of my head. You mentioned numbers. Okay. So no, interesting. All right. Comparing top and bottom. Excellent. Anything you want to add to? You had some. You said you have a couple of examples. You got another strategy example?
let's see. Well, for one of the organizations that I've worked with, issues, they have a lot of different issue areas that they work with. So it's really important to track, just kind of keep the pulse on the issue areas that are most popular. So it could be education or healthcare or youth. So it's kind of a unique nonprofit in that sense. And so for us, since issues are so important, that's one thing that we really track in those, nice spreadsheets. And over time, you can see in the graphs, sometimes issues creep up and sometimes they kind of drop off. And that's a really great indicator of, okay, maybe we should, step back from this particular issue for a little while and focus on this other one, because you're really listening to then what does your audience want. And you can sometimes see some trends happening before there's a national event that occurs.
Okay. Miko, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, if we were ready to sum up, I can sort of give some really quick sort of high points that people should sort of focus on.
No, not quite.
Okay.
You said that we were talking about strategy and then process.
Yeah, process.
I cut you off because I wanted to go to Rebecca because she had some strategy ideas. Okay, what are we going to say about process?
It's about keeping it simple. And so we work in a space where many of us wear many different hats, and we're doing many things. And so Rebecca touched on something earlier about like how often you should be doing things. How
often you should be looking at certain metrics.
Exactly.
Weekly versus quarterly, for instance. Okay.
And so once you sort of built up a practice of doing this, you sort of have some general benchmarks in your mind. And so you're able to do what I call spot checking, where you are maybe on a weekly basis sort of looking at your website numbers, you're looking at what's happening on social media, and then you're able to sort of really quickly say, oh, well, that looks a little off from where we were last week or where we were last month. I wonder what this is. And you can sort of determine how you invest your time. And I think something else to keep in mind is there are lots of resources that are out there. So Buffer has a really great blog, and they talk, I think, in a very nuanced and accessible way for folks about metrics. And although they're one of the catch-all tools that help people manage social media platforms, they're also really good about sort of talking about where they sort of fall short and where other tools might be able to pick up.
That's Buffer.
Yeah, Buffer.
Okay.
Yeah, Buffer.com. They have a really wonderful blog where they talk about metrics. Beth Cantor has a wonderful blog, and John.
Beth Cantor's been on the show many times, including from yesterday here at NTC.
Yeah.
Yep, and she's been on before too.
And John Hayden is also he's a wonderful resource as well. So they both have resources specific to this particular topic of metrics.
John Hayden's been on the show also, including this year at NTC. Yeah. But he's been on before too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we can wrap it up.
Okay.
So let's see, Rebecca, you want to get the final word on what to measure, how and why, digital metrics?
Well, I just want to echo what Miko had said earlier of you really want to look at your particular organization's goals and contextualize your data. There's lots of tools out there that will come and go, so that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to recommend very specific tools because they're here today, gone tomorrow, and tomorrow there's going to be lots of other great tools out there. So as long as you know what you are looking for, what do you want people to do, and take that time every once in a while to dig a little bit deeper. Have those couple basic stats, 5-10 metrics that you just keep an eye on, make sure things are going well throughout the year, and then, maybe quarterly spend some time looking a little bit deeper, like I gave some of those examples about the landing pages and headlines, just so you can find out what works for your organization.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. That was Rebecca Reyes. She's digital marketing consultant at Spring Media Strategies, and also Miko Whitlock, digital communications consultant and associate director for communications at NASTAD. And what again is NASTAD?
The National Alliance of State and Territorial AIDS Directors.
Thank you very much, Miko. Rebecca, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for being with us. It's Tony Martignetti, nonprofit radio coverage of 16NTC, wrapping it up with the forklifts and the people movers and the union guys are all here to pack up 16NTC. Thanks so much for being with us.